just trying to live my life here and function. And it's crazy to think that there could be answers and solutions to things like this, but I could be denied access. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope that everybody is doing well today. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a nurse practitioner. I create a lot of educational content, but sometimes I also just get on here and chit chat with you guys. And today that's going to be what this video is. So I'm in my car because I spend a lot of time in here. It's the only way I get my daughter to nap. I also have the air conditioning blasting because we are like having a major heat wave here in Michigan right now. It's 93 degrees out, so also hence the hair is doing its own thing. But yeah, so I'm sitting in the car, my daughter is napping, got the air going, and I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on one of my last videos that I uploaded. A couple of videos ago, I talked about how I was recently diagnosed with syringomyelia. And so very recently, it is July 1st, and I got this diagnosis in May. So it's been a little bit over a month. And my video that I posted about it was basically like a vlog taking you through getting diagnosed, but I kind of want to just give a little bit of an update since the diagnosis. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll give you a brief rundown of what was going on and where I'm at now. So I am post spinal cord injury. Years ago when I was a kid, I had a tumor in my spinal cord. They removed it. I have partial paralysis after the surgery on my left leg, and it's something I lived with most of my life. And then over these last couple of years, I noticed a pretty significant decline in my mobility and my functioning, I guess you could say. I've been having more muscle spasticity, more muscle fatigue, difficulty with balance, like a lot of balance issues. Just walking has been harder. I don't know how else to put it. And it's been kind of gradual over these last couple of years. That part of me almost felt like it was in my head. It wasn't like a stark, one day I woke up and I couldn't do the things I did before. Over a little bit of time, day by day, things started to change, and now I sit here a couple years later and I'm like, I really can't do the things that I was doing just a few years ago. And so I thought that I would go to a spine specialist that I had seen in the past a few years ago. And I would talk to him about getting Botox injections. That was my goal, to help with the muscle spasticity. And this is something I had done when I was a child. Haven't had it done in a very long time. But I used to get Botox injections in my left leg for muscle spasticity. I thought that would be maybe a solution to some of the problems I was having. I explained to him, what was going on and what I wanted. And he's like, before we do that, we have to make sure there's not something more serious going on. And so that's when he ordered the MRIs. So I had to have a cervical, thoracic, and lumbar MRI. It was over an hour on the table. Super unfun. Did not enjoy it whatsoever. I had to get the gadolinium dye and the contrast and all that. They ended up finding that I do have something going on that would be causing my symptoms and my decline in mobility, and it's called syringomyelia. And this was something that I had never heard of before. I got the MRI before I even spoke back with this doctor that ordered it. I got the results and I'm reading the interpretation. So initially I felt a few different emotions. One, I felt, okay, I'm not crazy. There is something going on. There is a reason that I am having these issues. And on the other side, I felt, irritated or disappointed that I had something going on, because I don't want to deal with this crap. Obviously who does? But I have had some bad luck, just with my health. And so I just was like, great, something else to deal with, something else to manage, something else. So now syringomyelia, I am by no means an expert, but this is what I have learned thus far. It happens sometimes post spinal cord injury. Sometimes also it happens with patients or persons that have the Chiari malformation. I think I'm saying that correctly. But it's rare. It's rare, and it basically, you form a cyst, or what's called actually a syrinx, a fluid-filled sac. It's on my thoracic spine. I think it was T1 to T5. I'd have to look at the MRI again, but definitely thoracic spine. And it can cause these symptoms, these exact symptoms that I'm talking about. Initially, after I read these results, I actually called back the spine specialist and I said, hey, can we talk about the results of my MRI? He told me they found this syrinx. It could be causing your symptoms. We'll approach it conservatively and just do like serial MRIs over time and make sure nothing changes. And that was like the initial follow-up, was that phone call. It was like 30 seconds long. And so I was kind of left just to like stew on this diagnosis, like, is managing it conservatively really my best option? I should get a second opinion. So I had a follow-up, like actually in person with this spine doctor a few weeks after the MRI. I didn't know what to expect going there because we'd already spoken on the phone and he seemed like he was not concerned. But when I went there, you know, right away he's like, you need to see a neurosurgeon. I was like, oh. I was confused because he made it really sound like we were just going to be very conservative and just watch it on MRI. But when I saw him, I don't know if he had more time between then and that, like the phone call and that visit, to really like look at the images and whatnot and to like review my case. But right when I got there, he's like, you need to see a neurosurgeon and we need to see what your best option is. And he let me know that it still might be managing it conservatively, but it also could be a surgical case. Sometimes they do like shunts for the syrinx, or they can drain it. I don't know all the options. But regardless, he wants me to go see a neurosurgeon. I did make my appointment. They can't get me in until the end of this month. I made it at the end of last month. It's pretty booked out. But yeah, obviously it's not like emergent. And I have again mixed feelings about going to this appointment. I mean, it's not like he's going to do surgery on me right then and there. But on the one hand, it makes me nervous to think that maybe they will recommend I get spine surgery because, rewind, when I had spine surgery the last time, just the one time, but the last time and the one time, I woke up with partial paralysis. No fault to, well, maybe, I don't know. I'm not really faulting the surgeon. It was a really complicated case and I could have died. That being said, didn't go perfectly. And so obviously I am apprehensive to have another spine surgery. But on the other hand, I would hate to continue to decline and get worse with my symptoms. I don't want to lose functioning. I want to have obviously the best quality of life, obviously, as we all do. And so, it's a catch-22. So that's where I'm at right now. I have my follow-up appointment, like I said, at the end of this month. And we're just going to see what happens and what they say. We actually just went to the World Cup. This is like a little sidebar. Cool. One of the coolest experiences I've ever had. My family agrees. They felt the same. One of the coolest experiences. We went to Philadelphia and we saw Croatia versus Ghana, and it was so freaking cool. I am heavily invested in this World Cup. If you guys are watching the games, they have been so good. We're at like the elimination rounds right now where it's like you either win or you go home. And some of these games have been literally like nail biters. Like, they're going into overtime, going into kickoffs. It's down to the last shot. Like, it's been so good. But that's besides the point. So we went to the World Cup in Philadelphia, and it was a good amount of walking. Like, just walking around Philadelphia, going through to the subway, and then, from the subway to the stadium and around the stadium and back. I did use a cane while I was there because I need something for long distance right now. But even that, I have not felt this type of like fatigue, like true muscle fatigue in maybe ever. I don't know. First, let's just talk about it again. It was the coolest experience and I have no regrets. The environment, like, I don't know how to put it. You'd have to go. There's so many different like cultures and backgrounds, and it reminds you that you are just like such a small part of like a bigger globe. I felt very peaceful and unified. It wasn't like very divided. I'm sure some of these games now, getting towards the final games, it's getting a little bit more heated. But like when I was there, we were at the end of the group stages. I mean, there's rivalry, but it was like the most friendly rivalry ever. It was just, we were all happy to be there. It was the coolest experience. But like I said, a ton of walking. And it was just like this slap in the face, stark reminder that it's really hard to walk right now. And that just sucks. And again, I know that so many people have it worse. And I'm not trying to say that it's horrible, because I do still have a really good life. But things are really hard right now as far as like mobility, and that sucks. And that's okay. I'm allowed to say it sucks. I'm trying to consider other options for mobility aids in the meantime while I see if there's any solution to what I'm going through. I am actually on July 7th going to do like a trial with this like C brace or something it's called. So it's just basically like a big, I don't even know exactly. If you look it up, it's like a high technology brace for your leg. When I called up there and I talked to the lady about scheduling the appointment, she was just kind of giving me the rundown about what to expect with insurance. So for full backstory, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. For example, the BioNest that I use right now, which is a neurostimulator that helps me walk, my insurance considered it like, I don't know, experimental, did not cover any of it. I paid about $6,000 out of pocket, even though it's been around for like over a decade. But yeah. And so she let me know that my insurance, again, Blue Cross Blue Shield, also considers this C brace, which again has been around for years and years and years, used by many people, but they consider it still experimental medical technology, and they will not generally cover any of it out of pocket. And so I was like, well, just out of curiosity, what does this cost? And she's like $75, and I thought she was going to say $7,500, because that would be more like in line with the price of my BioNest. And so again, it's a steep cost, but it's something that I could work out, right? I could figure it out. I know, again, it's a lot of money. I'm not saying $7,500 is not a lot of money, but I feel like that's within my realm of possibilities, whereas her sentence to finish was $75,000. I'm like, $75,000? I went from like professional to unprofessional real quick on the phone. I just could not believe that she said $75,000. That's more than my car. Like, what? It's a very expensive car for your leg. And she's like, yeah, girl, $75,000. I'm like, well, why didn't you start with that? Like, who the hell just can drop $75,000 on a flippin' brace? And then she's like, well, we have these agreements we work out with insurance, so usually by the end of it, it's around $40,000, $35,000 to $40,000 out of pocket. Which, okay, still, I mean, granted, you start with 75 and then you say 35, it sounds less shocking, but that's outside of my realm of possibilities. I could not drop $35,000 on this. She's like, it's not to say your insurance won't. She's just said she hasn't seen it yet. She said if you do get approved for the device and the device works for you, you can call up your insurance and start basically pleading your case. And then you can also get your doctors on board with you to help plead your case as well. So I'm still going to go, and I'm going to see what the device is about and if it really does help me, and then we'll go from there. I will document that because I want to see, one, if it's that helpful, and two, the barriers, I guess, to getting the device if it does work for me. If you're watching this, if you've had syringomyelia, if you know anyone that has had syringomyelia, if you have any experience in treating syringomyelia, let me know. Also, if you have any experience with this C brace, I'll put some information on the screen so I'm more clear about what it is. If you know of anyone that's used it or had any experience with it, I'd be really curious to know. I will, like I said, document my experience with it and how it goes. And again, I hope it does work, but I also then hope that I'm able to obtain it. I'm just trying to live my life here and function. And it's crazy to think that there could be answers and solutions to things like this, but I could be denied access. And I know that that's like a drop in the bucket. There are so many people that are denied access for things that they need for their health. But anyway, that's my update in a nutshell about this syringomyelia and what's going on. 0 out of 10 so far, or 0 out of 5 stars. Do not recommend. but I will keep you posted. Other than that, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Make sure you're staying healthy out there, staying hydrated, because it is a hot summer. But I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.
I've climbed the mountains in Montana, danced in the lights of New Orleans. Portland ran away with me, and San Francisco stayed with me. Nashville made its way in between. Fell in love in Minnesota, and fell apart south of Salt Lake. Colorado calls to me, and Washington will always be begging for a piece of me to stay. Maybe some things never change, but I wanna know how it feels